Welcome back to another episode of AFL Cape York House TV. I'm Kane Richter, I'm the boarding manager here at AFL Cape York House for Boys. In 2020 we've started with 47 students. That means that a lot of new kids have arrived on our doorstep, which is a fantastic opportunity for us to help these young people grow into proud, strong and responsible young men. But with this transition of our young people from remote communities, there's a lot of complexities and context that we need to understand. And we need to be able to communicate that to our schools, to our families, and the broader community here in Cairns so that it is a successful transition for our young people. We're going to look at some of those contexts and complexities in this episode of AFL Cape York House TV. We've got a really good structure, we've got a really good staff environment here that is able to set up a really good plan so that when those young people come into our place, they're able to transition successfully. Things around homesickness, things around missing family, missing food, all that sort of stuff. In this episode, we're going to look at interviewing some of our staff in key roles that they play in the transition of a young person coming into boarding. We're also going to talk to some students, and we're also going to look at a really special program that we've got going in conjunction with the Adllins Land Council over in Groote Eylandt. And that's helping young people from Groote Eylandt come to AFL Cape York House on a really specialised transition program that supports their transition from remote community on Groote Eylandt here to school in Cairns. Let's have a look at that now. I want you to think about this situation. You're an 11-year-old student and you're coming from a remote community in the Torres Strait. Let's talk about Saibai Island, for example. On Saibai, you can see PNG. You're an 11-year-old student, you've grown up with your family, all you know is Saibai Island and the Torres Strait. And you're expected to move away for high school and start year 7. That transition from year 6 to year 7 is majorly important in your education, but also your personal development. You travel down to Cairns, you leave home, you leave family, you leave your mum's cooking, you leave your mum's support, and you come to a place where you've got to live with me, my family, my dog, but also staff that look after you. You've got to live with 40 other boys in an environment that is completely foreign to you and completely different. Then you've got to also live in Cairns, which is a bigger community than your home community in remote community. And sometimes when you transition to school here in Cairns, the school community is much, much larger than that of your own home community. For example, one of our schools, our biggest schools in Cairns, has 1,750 students alone. That's bigger than most communities in Cape York, Torres Strait and Northern Territory. So we're now going to interview some of our staff, and so you get an understanding of the key roles that our staff play in supporting our young people in their transition.
My name's Tristine, or TJ, and I am the Wellbeing Coordinator for the Boys House. Mostly initially it's health sort of stuff, so the 715 Indigenous health checks, which make sure that they can get access to 5 allied health visits a year, so in case they have anything wrong, we find out early, make sure that we can get onto that, and then also supporting especially the younger kids who are homesick and making them feel a bit more at home, talking to them at least almost every day, making sure they're all right, talking to their families, seeing if they have any special needs, favourite foods that'll help them fit in, and then sort of fun stuff, so whether they like music, whether they like fitness that's different to AFL, or whether they like simple stuff, like I've got a few boys who do baking with me at the moment to help them fit in. A lot of it is to do with fitting in, so fitting in with the other boys if they don't already have friends here, or a lot not being able to sleep okay, so talking to them about different ways they can help get a better night's sleep, and then engaging with family as well if they are homesick so that they can make regular contact with home. So homesickness is usually the big one at the start of the year for our boys, and getting used to a completely different environment because they usually haven't lived out of home before. Usually because this is such a different environment to what they're used to. They're used to small communities up in the Cape, and then they come down here and we're in a big city, or big-ish city, going to different schools which are pretty big, and then having to get along with 45 nude brothers essentially is always a bit of a challenge. Brothers can be a bit cheeky to each other. So there's a lot of that, managing those sorts of issues as well, and how they fit in. Usually just through yarning with them, bribing with hot chocolate sometimes, and working with the education. So working with the teacher, Billy Joe, to make sure that they've got everything they need. They've got shoes. Usually I'll take them shopping and stuff, just so it's an opportunity to talk to them about what they need and what they like. Make sure they feel as comfortable as possible before going to school. It is super important. The family has known them their whole lives. We have only had them for, at the moment, a couple of weeks. But yeah, it's super important to get the family on board, because kids don't tend to get along well if they don't have the support of their family behind them. Health information sessions are a big one throughout the year, so information on dental hygiene, information on physical health stuff like smoking and drug and alcohol use, but also stuff that gets them out and about and makes them happy, like the boxing sessions, the music sort of stuff, anything that keeps them engaged in the community as well. It's important to be a part of the community here. So going to PCYC for dance classes sometimes, usually breakdancing classes. Fun stuff to keep them involved. So we have a pretty great opportunity here in Cairns that we have access to a dentist within a week. We have access to multiple different mental health options. The doctor is available usually that day for us, so it's a perfect opportunity for us to get all of those initial health stuff ready that they haven't usually had instant access to. So in regards to dental, that's one of the ones that's a pretty big topic for our young people, because there aren't dentists regularly up in communities. So that's usually one of the first ones after the 715s, just to make sure that they have access to everything while they're down here, because this is where they've got the best opportunity to do that. So health is a pretty massive part of the wellbeing role. It takes up a lot. My favourite thing is how diverse it is, and how you get to learn heaps of different things about the boys. Like, I guess people often see boys as just footy heads or just people who want to do physical stuff all the time. But I've got heaps of boys here who love gardening, who love working with like tiny little succulents, or even boys who just want to bake cake to calm down. So it's nice to see all those different aspects of the young men we have here.
Awesome.
It's a great environment for young men. They have heaps of opportunities here. Like in my role in particular, I'm not really limited to what I can do with young people to make them happy. If they want to do something completely outrageous, like throw themselves down waterfalls attached to harnesses, then we do that. So I guess there's a lot of great opportunities here, both health and happiness wise.
I'm Billy Joe. I'm the teacher here at AFL House. I work in transition support along with Education Queensland. My job here is to get the kids ready when they come into school. One of the ways we do that, I take the book lists from one of our partnership schools, so we have 8 of them, and I pre-order at the beginning of the year for our parents, just to save them the stress of having to come down here and go shopping for it. So we've pre-ordered books and we start to get them ready. Part of that process is making sure the boys have all of the resources they need. So they all do various subjects from grade 7 through to grade 12. The grade 7s need a lot more resources than the grade 12s do. And to make their transition in here a lot less stressful for them, I make sure they've got these, they've got bags, they've got water bottles, because it's really hot at the beginning of the year when we start. And to let the parents know that I'm ordering these and these are part of their levy, it relieves their stress knowing that they don't have to run around and do it. So when the boys walk in on their first day of school, because they normally arrive day 1 and they're at school day 2, they come in here, they grab their books, they grab their bag, and they're all set for the next day to go to school. Another thing I do in transition is to help them get their uniforms. So if we've got new kids coming in from grade 7, some of them have travelled from as far as Saibai Island up in the Cape and from Wadair. I will go with them and make sure they've got the uniforms they need for each, for sports day and for formal uniforms.
What's different from Adllins to Arakoon School?
We don't wear uniforms, we just wear normal clothes, and we don't wear shoes.
Yep.
Like sometimes people don't follow the rules. They do graffiti on the walls.
Yep. And what about at Adllins? What do you have to do? What's different?
You follow the rules. You gotta wear your uniforms, you wear your shoes, and wear hats.
Yep.
And,
Is the schoolwork harder?
yeah.
Yeah? What's been your hardest subject at school, Chad?
Maths and English.
Maths and English? Yeah. Are you getting help at school?
Yeah.
From who?
From those teachers.
From the teachers?
Yeah.
What about anyone from AFL House?
Yeah, Auntie Martha helps me.
So say it nice and loud. Who helps you?
Auntie Martha.
Auntie Martha. And she's our student mentor. Yep. Okay, Samson. What's been your best subject at school? Maths. And what's been your hardest subject? English. Do you get help at school? Yeah. From who?
My teacher.
Your teachers? Awesome. Okay. What's been the best thing about Trinity Bay for you, Samson?
It's fun there because we don't stay in one class and do the one work. We change class every day and do different works.
Awesome. Great. And what's been the hardest thing about school for you?
First when I got there, I didn't know some people there. And he started for me because first when I got there, it was hard because I didn't know where to go first.
Yep.
My first class.
Yep.
And,
What about did you say? Oh, what's been the best thing about school? Oh no, you said that. Sorry. Back over to Chad. Chad, at Red Lynch, what's been the hardest thing about Red Lynch? Going to Red Lynch.
Finding your way to other classes.
Finding your way to other classes. Yep.
Yeah.
What else?
And learning different subjects.
Yep. And what's been the best thing about Red Lynch?
Get to make new friends.
Yep. Good boy. Awesome. Okay. All right. Last couple of questions. What's been the hardest thing about AFL Cape York House boarding?
To fit in.
Hey?
It's hard to fit in.
Hard to fit in?
Yeah.
Yep. What about you, Sam?
we have to wear shoes so we go in the kitchen and we need to wear t-shirts in the kitchen.
Yep. Okay. And what's been, for you, Samson, what's been the best thing about AFL Cape York House?
Every Saturday we go in the swimming and
Good. And Chad, what's been the best thing about AFL Cape York House for you?
See other places and
Nice one, Dad. Say it again.
go to other places and swim, hang out with friends.
Hi, my name's Jetta Nash. I'm the Student Services Coordinator at AFL Cape York House for Boys. My main role and duties are enrolment applications, supporting families with their applications, ab-study travel, and also assisting families with their claims. More so just that communication with families, building that rapport, organising the kids' travel to come down for interview and also to start boarding, just also making the families feel welcome. We've got a safe place for their student to attend, and just keeping that communication going while they're boarding. Just reassuring them that we're here to support them, that their child's safety is our number one focus, also their education, going to school, and also keeping them happy while they're here is a big focus for us. Yeah, so first of all, we normally get an inquiry from a parent or family or a support person in community. And then I would either make contact with the families, email, or send an enrolment package out for the families to complete. Once I receive that, then I start the communication process happening with the families. I also assist them with any ab-study claim issues they might be having. And it's just that constant back and forth communication, getting to know them, getting to know their student, until we can book the travel for them to come in for an interview. Yeah, the main issues we have sometimes ab-study claims, just forms not being completed, missing documentation, also students that come from a community that have a high school, that can sometimes delay the process. But if you come from a community that doesn't have a high school, all your forms are completed, and you've put your ab-study claim in nice and early, it's normally a really seamless process. Yeah, so once I confirm that the ab-study eligibility is successful and we have all the documentation and the enrolment packs that we need, I contact the families and organise an appropriate time that suits them and the boarding facility for them to come down for interview. So I book the travel, their accommodation, any transfers they require, and again it's just that communication, letting them know once it's all been confirmed. Constant contact when they're here, we go and pick them up and then we bring them in for their interview. I enjoy working with the students. I have a passion for helping Indigenous youth. Also with my previous role, I also worked with Indigenous health, and I just enjoy sport as well. I enjoy making sure the kids have a good, healthy outcome in life, making sure they go to school. It's not my priority, but I'm always on to them and making sure they enjoy their time here. I think we have really great staff on board here. We all have a focus on, kids improving their education, their well-being, also, the future outcomes for our students. We all have a passion for that. Most of the staff here, we have very qualified staff. At the outcomes of the kids and them feeling welcome, safe is really important to all of us. And most of us, we come to work with a really positive attitude and we all enjoy working here. Homesickness is a really big thing for our kids, and that's why making them feel safe and welcome is a big thing for us. Because we know it's a big transition. They come to us at 11 years of age, they're still very young, so they need that support. We also try and provide pathways for our students, so education, traineeships, after school apprenticeships, traineeships, any kind of, if they're interested in, a sports program or something through school, we try and support them as much as we can, and also with the families. As our students come to us at 11 years of age, we understand it's really important to make them feel welcome and support them and the families in that tradition from community. We understand that sometimes they do feel really homesick and we may need to bring families down to support them. I can't remember what I said.
Best part of your role?
Best part of my role, I just love being busy, as much as it annoys me sometimes, but I love the kids annoying me every afternoon, coming in, asking questions. What am I doing? What am I not doing? Why aren't I doing enough for them? Can you do this? Can you do that? But the kids are what makes this job. They're great kids. We love all the kids that are here. They test us at times, but that's what the job is. Hardest thing about my job is more just the processing side of things. So when we get a few hiccups with families and trying to get their ab-study claims ready, that's the biggest hiccup. But again, we try and support families as much as we can, so it's a smooth process.
Hi, my name's Gladys Atkins and my role is Student Service Support Officer at AFL Cape York House with the boys. Pretty much my day-to-day starts at 8 a.m, come in and make sure the boys are all organised for school, whether it's socks, shorts, uniforms, keep them nice and calm, transition them back into school and getting them on the bus. Any boys a bit slow, I take them to school. So just getting them organised, making sure they've got their lunch, making sure they're in a happy space when they go to school in the morning. And then I come back and organise dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, probably visit schools if any boys need any assistance, and that's about it. They're actually really excited to come. So I think because they've gone through the interview process with you and Billy Joe and TJ, they know what they're coming to. So they're actually pretty happy when they first get here, and we try to keep them in that same space. Some are nervous because it's the 11 years old, first time away from mum, but I suppose that's what I'm good at, mother figure for them. So I help them to just feel comfortable, make them feel they're going to be loved here and safe here. And then, they seem, these Year 7s actually really surprised me at how good they transition through to AFL Cape York House. I think just making them feel like they're part of a family already. As soon as they walk in the gate, everyone's smiling and happy and they feel that and they feel good. We make them feel part of the family even through interview process, even if they're not being accepted by you at the house. So I think they get that feeling of belonging already when they get here. And then just little things like having their room set up and if they need any toiletries, all their school uniforms organised, their little pigeonholes. So I think Here we just make it a little bit personalised for them and make them feel special one-on-one rather than just a number at a boarding facility. So I'll bring you through and hopefully we'll get the young person to get their wardrobe, and as you can see in Mika's here, unpack all their clothes and help them get sorted here. So fold their clothes up with them, put them in their cupboards and have that sort. They've got a laundry basket for their dirty washing. And then we've got their study desk, and I'll just show you, we've got their beds here. We've got double rooms and single rooms. This is a single room, and Mika likes an extra blanket, so we just put another blanket on the end. Beautiful. With us, hurdle help's a big thing at AFL House, so even if they're 11 years old to 17 years old, we still assist them, like making their beds, making sure their clothes are in their cupboard, washing their laundry, school organised, because we know as parents ourselves, it's not easy. So we've got parents washing our clothes. These kids don't. They have to do it themselves. So our hurdle help is important. So when they leave us at AFL House, they can do it on their own. I like it all the time. I like it every day. Just seeing the boys and making them smile and making them happy. And probably because I've been here a long time, watching them go from year 6, year 7, and go all the way to year 12, and just watching them change, grow, their bodies, their skin, how good they look, and you know, just the change in them and how they've developed over time at AFL House is probably the best thing for me. It's pretty good at the moment. It's just keeping them motivated, I suppose. That's the hardest thing. Just as long as I've got a smile on my face, I know they'll have a smile on their face, and just to keep them happy and make them excited for the day, because you know, school's not the most exciting place to go every day for a young kid, but if you can keep them positive and happy about it, then that makes me have a smile and feel good all day too. I would recommend it, only because I've seen a lot of boarding facilities. My husband used to work in boarding. So just the family that we have here, the help, the staff, you know, everyone's just supportive and loving and care for each other. And it's genuine, like you don't get that everywhere else. It's a nice number, it's small, it's like a close-knit family. So I would recommend it 100%.